Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Stars Aligned Oracle YouTube channel, the Lucky Stars community. Cat Star here with a very special reading for you all today. We're going to go ahead and kind of look at some tough love, the stuff that nobody is telling you or that people are sugarcoating or adding a little bit of really cute, sweet topping to that really isn't benefiting you. So this is a timeless reading, meaning that whenever you come across this message and it resonates for you, it is for you. This is for all zodiac, all star signs, for everyone. Now, I do have 3 decks here, which are going to be what I'm going to be calling the pointer cards. They're going to be the top. They're going to point us to what mostly needs to be looked at during this time. These will have 3 different kind of ideas around them, and then we're going to get some more information from the tarot. As a reminder, my readings are for entertainment and are general in nature. They may or may not resonate for everybody, so please do take what is for you and leave what isn't. For those of you liking and sharing the videos, thank you so much. It does help others to be able to see these messages. I also do want to say thank you, whether you are tuning in for the first time or you are returning. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. So I've already pre-shuffled these decks, so we're going to go ahead and just kind of get our pointer cards out here. And oh yes, so this first column here is actually what you are neglecting. Okay, yep. The second column is where you are keeping yourself small. And ooh, right off the bat. And the third column is the advice, some advice for you. Now, this is meant to be some tough love, not all negative. It's just to point out with the pointer cards, right? Potentially 3 different places or different areas where you're neglecting, or just to give you that insight, that knowledge, so that you can really take a look and see what is going on. All right. Okay, so let's get a couple more cards out here for the rest of this reading. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. A little bit more information here. Okay. Cards flying all the time. All right, let's go ahead and look at what you have been neglecting. So the dream walker, dreams, the collective good, illusions. So what is coming through with this is that some of you have been neglecting the overall good, focused more so on yourself, on what you're doing, not on how you can be helping others, and in a way benefiting yourself, helping yourself as well. When we get really focused on the self, we tend to get anxious. We tend to get kind of almost depressed as well when we are so self-focused that we can't see any other people's point of views. We can't open up and really allow for kind of different insights to come in. We really get stuck in this rigid idea of what we believe to be true. And although that may in times be true for us, it doesn't mean that it is true or necessarily advantageous for everybody and or for ourselves, right? Sometimes we really hold ourselves back. We get into really fixed thinking, a fixed mindset, and that doesn't continue to move us. So that's that looking for the good in all, the higher good for everyone is really being neglected at this time. Also, your dreams, you're not paying attention to the dreams and the information that they are bringing to you, and you're also haven't been paying attention to your dreams, your goals, what it is that you are working towards. So you really do want to tune back in to the messages coming through your dreams and your soul's calling, what your dreams were maybe when you were younger or even 5 or 10 years ago that you have not been tuning into or paying attention to. Now, something else that's coming through here with this dream walker is the illusion. So some of you have really been not neglecting the illusions. You've been tuning into the illusions, the stories that you're making up in your mind, and that has not been helping you. In fact, it's creating conversations, creating stories in the mind that does keep you stuck. When you're having conversations with somebody, let's say, just for example, you have a boss that you do not feel like you get along with. When you're having mental fights with this person in your mind, you're actually in ways creating that scenario within your own reality, the physical reality. If you are always going back and forth, with somebody in your mind, you are creating that static within your physical reality because you begin to believe over time, the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between fact and fiction, right or wrong, none of that. It just believes what you tell it. So if you are always having these conversations in your mind, these mental fights with somebody, for in this example, your boss, that begins to become the reality, and you begin to notice more strife, more static within that relationship as you are creating that illusion through the conversations that you're having within yourself, within your own mind, and the thoughts that you hold, because that energy can be felt outside. So you really, this neglecting of these three things, and or not neglecting as far as the illusions go, is really, really holding you back during this time. Now you have the Fool with that Dream Walker card, and this is really coming in as neglecting those new beginnings, neglecting those shifts, neglecting that spontaneousness and that belief within yourself and within other people for this collective good, within holding intentions for the collective good, holding intentions for bringing your dreams to reality. That has been neglected. Holding those negative or non-beneficial stories, those thoughts or conversations that you're having, has been holding you back. You've been neglecting yourself and others within this paradigm that you're continuing by holding those illusions and neglecting to see in instances, right, the greater good of everybody. We all are doing the best that we can with the resources that we have. We all are really striving for an excellence of sorts, not perfection, because perfection isn't obtainable, but an excellence of sorts that is moving us into a direction of what it is that we want or see for ourselves. If we are holding on to illusions, if we are neglecting seeing the greater good of all or for the greater good of all, then we're really keeping ourselves limited to our own beliefs, as we talked about just a little bit earlier. We're keeping ourselves limited as to our own conditioning. We're keeping ourselves limited. So there's no room for spontaneity. There's no room for believing in other things when we are so fixed in our current mindset. There's really no room for new beginnings. So by neglecting all of that, you're not opening up space for things to move in the direction that you are wanting, choosing, hoping, and then you're also neglecting holding on to hope. And this hope is also for the greater good of all inclusive, for the greater good of all. We do not have to believe that everything that everybody else believes is true. We do not have to hold on to that conditioning that we were given or took in via suggestion as children, or when we were younger, or even yesterday. We get to question that. And for some of you, it's coming through that you haven't been questioning anything. You've just been taking everything in as truth. Do a little research. find out a little bit more information, ask questions. Asking questions is one of the most powerful things that you can do. Ask questions. Hold on to that faith. Don't neglect the faith, and don't neglect healing. Don't work to push everything down, to shove it down, to pretend it's not there. Focus on that healing. Really redirect the thoughts. Really focus in on the greatest good or the collective good and what your dreams are. Stop neglecting your dreams, right? Stop neglecting your dreams. Your dreams are there, right? Wishing upon a star. The lucky stars, the reason that this is a lucky stars community is we are all under the same sky, under the same stars, and we all have this innate luck that we are born with. We can foster that or we can stifle it based on our thoughts, our behaviors, our actions, our mindset, our inner conversations. So make sure that you are not neglecting holding that hope, holding that idea for the greater good, and really tuning into your inspirations and your dreams. Okay. Now, in the next column, which is where you're keeping yourself small, you have boundaries here. So, for some of you, this is coming in that you have very, very strict boundaries, which is beautiful. Just make sure that you're not making them so strict that nobody, including yourself, can follow or keep up with them. Also, on the other side, it's coming in that some of you are not holding boundaries. And by not holding boundaries, you're kind of showing up as a pleaser or a yes person. And we can say, no, we do not have to please everybody. So, in both sides of that, you're keeping yourself small. If you are holding too rigid or too strict of boundaries that nobody, including yourself, could even begin to stay within, right? That's not helping you. If you are not holding boundaries and you are just a yes person, a people pleaser, then it's time to begin to really tune in and notice what you do want or want to do and what you don't. And be open to saying no. Be open to not always being that person that somebody can run to, or not always being that person that is open to pleasing, to doing for everybody. Yes, you do want to focus, right, as one of the things that you've been neglecting. You do want to focus on the collective good, but you have to remember that you are part of that collective. And if you are running yourself so thin that you cannot even focus, let alone keep your eyes open because you're so exhausted, that is not helping anybody as well. So that is really keeping you small because you're giving so much of your time, so much of your energy away by not holding the boundaries that you are not able to then focus on your dreams and focus on the collective good of all, right? Including you. If it's not good for you, be willing to say no. If somebody is not kind of staying within a boundary that you have set, be willing to speak up, use your voice, and trust yourself within that. Now, within those boundaries, you also have the Knight of Swords. And this is coming in as really being somebody, this is where you're keeping yourself small, who always has to save the day for everyone else. Okay? Yes, keeping the collective good in mind, not neglecting that idea of the collective good, but also not putting yourself in a position where you always feel like you need to be a hero, where you always feel like you need to be saving the day, rushing in to put all the fires out for everybody else, and then not ever having a moment for yourself. That is really, really keeping you small. So make sure that you are letting other people put their own fires out, that you are letting other people save their own day. Nobody can save us or nobody can do the work but us. We are the only person that can do that for ourselves. But if you're rushing in with no boundaries, saying yes to everything, and you are saving the day for everybody, putting fires out for everybody else. Who is doing it for you? Okay. Now you also have teamwork here, or the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, the Three of Pentacles. So that's coming in as teamwork. And for some of you, you haven't had very good communication, and that not good communication, especially when we're talking about boundaries, especially when we're talking about being everybody else's hero and saving the day for everybody else, putting all these fires out. If that communication isn't there, which can come in as just a very strong no, whatever that first inkling that you get is what it is. If somebody invites you to do something, you do not have to do everything. Every invitation you get does not have to be a yes answer, right? You don't need to RSVP to everything. It's okay to miss certain things. That first instinct that you get when you hear about it, if you're excited, great, do it. If you're not, if you're like, oh crap, I don't want to do that, another, this or another that, no, then say no. Use your communication, use your voice. Again, we just talked about that. Set the boundaries that are going to really, really open up that space for you to be your own hero, for you to put your own fires out, for you to have a bit of time to actually rest, to relax, to rejuvenate, to allow yourself to breathe. It's coming through here that some of you haven't even taken a moment out to be able to reflect or to actually even breathe. You really are kind of doing and being all for everybody else, and you're keeping yourself small and neglecting yourself in that process. All right. So now we have the advice, and the advice is acceptance. Okay. I am learning to accept the things that I cannot change. So this is gorgeous, gorgeous advice here for you for accepting the boundaries that you have set in place, accepting the collective good, not neglecting that, accepting those dreams that keep calling to you, and opening up to really open doors to move yourself towards that. But this is also accepting yourself, accepting that it is okay for you to say no, accepting the fact that you don't always have to rush in with a fire extinguisher to put the fire out, accepting that you do not need to save the day for everybody. What's really coming in here is not my circus, not my monkeys, and just really accepting that it is okay for you to take a step back, for you to set boundaries, for you to pay attention to the collective good, pay attention to your dreams and your calling, and to be able to say yes to the things that you are really excited about, and no to the things that you really aren't. That's acceptance of yourself, acceptance of your light and your dark, because a lot of times when there's people pleasing, a lot of times when there is kind of this yes, yes, yes going on, we can feel like the shadow part of that is saying no, or not being there, or what will happen if I don't. That is putting that responsibility that you have been holding on for yourself, for all of these other people, inadvertently, I'm sure, unconsciously or on a subconscious level, not really aware that you're doing it. But it is taking all that responsibility in. If you say no, if you don't show up, the only thing that is going to happen is going to be that the other person actually needs to take responsibility for themselves. Okay. So do know, yes, some things could go awry or something may happen, but it helps the other person be able to stand on their own 2 feet. And it allows you that time to step back and really be able to focus on yourself and the collective good, right? Because that collective good does not include being a people pleaser, a yes, yes, yes person, and never including yourself in that greater good, okay, or that collective good. Also, the advice is to, with the Two of Wands here, is to, open up to the possibilities, open up to this idea that you can plan, but you can also kind of look out, take that time back and look out over what it is. This is a reflection coming in here as the advice. Allow yourself that time to accept, to reflect, to let go of things that aren't serving you, right? To focus in on the things that you have been neglecting, to kind of look at the places that you have been keeping yourself small and reflect on that and really tune into and plan, right? For some, it's coming through that saying no or holding boundaries, really looking at your dreams is going to be something that might feel like a bit of work. This may actually include, it's coming through here, I'm seeing a mirror, kind of looking in the mirror. Sometimes we laugh when we see this kind of stuff in movies or whatever, but it can be beneficial, and it is beneficial. Looking in the mirror and practicing saying no, practicing what your boundaries are, practicing your communication, practice holding that faith, practice really being kind of spontaneous, making silly, funny faces at yourself in the mirror, and or doing like Superman poses and empowered poses, that sort of thing, to really build up not only that acceptance, but also that reminder within yourself of who it is that you are. And then you also have the Hermit coming in here as the advice to again reflect, go inward, reflect on the wisdom that you have gained, reflect on those moments where you have neglected yourself or other things, your dreams, that sort of thing. Reflect on those moments where you've kept yourself small, where you've created too strict of boundaries, or you haven't had any boundaries at all, and what you have learned throughout that process. Accept, embrace, love all of the pieces of yourself, including those that maybe have been a yes person in the past, or maybe have been a people pleaser in the past, because there was a reason for that. But it does appear within this time, which this is a timeless reading, but within the time of this being recorded, that it is time to let some of that go, but also retain that information, retain that wisdom, retain that knowledge, and really become aware of the times where you feel like you are, not tuning into your dreams, where that soul is calling, where you're feeling that tug and you're not paying attention to it, where you're shoving things down maybe and not really letting yourself feel it, where you're not setting boundaries or you're setting too strict of boundaries. All of that, let yourself reflect, let yourself accept that with no shame, no blame, nothing like that. Just accept it and continue to move forward. Be aware of those instances so that when something like that comes up again, you can, again, if you do that mirror work, right, you have maybe practiced what your response will be, or kind of where you will be, what kind of mindset or mind frame you will be in when that next situation comes up. All right. Wow. Lots and lots of beautiful information coming through here. Kind of, again, a tough love reading, maybe something that you didn't know that you needed to hear during this time, that is not sugar coated and is really, really sent with positive intention to help you and assist you to move forward, to stop neglecting this point here, to really stop keeping yourself small. And for that advice, I do intend this resonated with you and for you. If it did, please do hit that like button and share this video. It does help others to be able to see these messages that might not otherwise. Also, be sure to be tuning into the collective weekly readings and monthly readings. If you're an Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, check out the Aquarius readings. And there's going to be a lot more of the timeless readings coming up, so do be sure to check those out as well. As always, I do wish you lots of hope, lots of joy, and lots of love with all of your current and future endeavors, and I'll see you in the next reading.